Alrighty, welcome back everybody to our latest live stream. Hope everybody's having a good afternoon so far. I do want to get to some breaking information. We actually have two tornadoes on the ground in western Georgia right now, and we're going to begin with the first storm that has very strong rotation and has had a confirmed tornado on the ground just west of 231. This is near areas like Jordan Lake as well as near Dexter and Titus in western Georgia. Make sure that you are seeking shelter immediately away from windows and lowest floor possible. We still have very strong rotation with this storm. There is an ongoing tornado on the ground with this storm. This is also north of Tacoma, if I'm saying the name right, again in western Georgia as we speak. So this is one of the first two tornadoes that we have on the ground. I do apologize. This is central Mississippi. Also back over onto the other storm north of this in central Mississippi. We also have another tornado that has just been confirmed on the ground near Stewartville as well as Lay Lake, as well as near Marble Valley. Two different tornadoes on the ground right now, so make sure that you are again seeking shelter immediately away from windows, lowest floor possible, interior room of your home. Again, right now ongoing in central Mississippi. Let's go to the correlation coefficient, beginning with one of the first two tornadoes that we have on the ground, which you can clearly see there's a little bit of debris being lifted up into the atmosphere just north of 111. This is currently tracking towards 231 over the next several minutes. It is quickly moving off to the east. Now, the rotation overall in the last few scans has definitely weakened a little bit. Now, it still looks pretty strong here. Winds are pretty tight. Obviously, the velocities are tight, but it has weakened just a little bit. So there might be a little bit of opportunity for this to maybe weaken as it tracks to the east. But for now, this is still on the ground, at least according here to the radar with the correlation coefficient indicating that there is debris being wafted up into the atmosphere right now as this storm continues to track out to the east-northeast. And it will eventually be going towards areas south of Rockford, pretty rural locations here, but along 231, eventually going to be tracking south of Alexander City. Dadeville is the one main town slash city in the track of this tornado warned storm in the long term. But for right now, it is mainly impacting locations on the left side of your screen here, which includes Deatsville, Jordan Lake, 10 Cedar Estates, as well as areas like Wakua, I can't say these names, Weokoa Mills, hopefully I'm saying the name right, as well as Holtville, and as well as Central and Jordan Dam. And again, this is the current tornado on the ground. Still very tight rotation here. At least some sort of small tornado on the ground north of 111. This is going to be going towards 231 again in the next really 2 to 3 minutes. So if you're anywhere along Highway 231, try to avoid this area at least for the next several minutes as a possible tornado does pass through your location. Again, this is a tornado on the ground. Here's your debris by the way being indicated on radar here. Again, it'll be tracking towards 231 over the next several minutes. We're going to hop over to Twitter real quick and see if we have any other updates on this ongoing tornado warning. But that is the latest. Again, this is an observed, at least confirmed tornado by radar. It is just passing through areas like Holtville right now, and it's going to be going off to the east. It's going to stay north of Wallsboro, but a fairly rural track after it passes through Holtville, which it currently is in. So Holtville's right now having a tornado on the ground. Holtville's right about here where the circle is, and it'll eventually track towards 231. After that, it is very rural, just a couple of lakes. That's about it after that. But again, this is an ongoing tornado on the ground, just east now of Deatsville. So if you're in Deatsville, the tornado has just passed you. Holtville, though, you are currently being impacted by, again, a tornado that is on the ground. We have another observed tornado, or at least confirmed tornado by radar. This is back up a little bit further north here in Mississippi. Let's go back over to the velocities, and it doesn't, oh, there we go. All right, here's the ongoing tornado on the ground. That is also, oh, it's moving quick. Here's the latest on this tornado now. It's a little bit further off to the north and east, west of 280, kind of to the south here of Talladega Springs. Again, I apologize. I'm going to be butchering a lot of names here, but this is moving off to the northeast. It's going to be going towards areas like Highway 231 and Highway 280 over the upcoming 5 to 10 minutes. So if you're in the track of this tornado warning, make sure you're getting to your safe place immediately, away from windows and lowest floor possible. Stewartville has been in the track of this storm. That's the main location right now in the track of this ongoing tornado on the ground will be Stewartville. Areas out in front of it later on do include areas like Hollins. So if you're in Hollins, make sure you have your safety plan in place. That's where this storm will be heading next, but Stewartville is the main location right now in the track of this. We also have a lot of high winds up here, just south of Childersburg and just west of 280, west of Oak Grove. Potentially some very high winds here. This might be a storm to watch for some rotation later on. Nothing on the correlation coefficient in terms of debris, but we have some high winds, it looks like, upwards of maybe 50 to 60 miles per hour. That is definitely a storm to watch for here on the northern side of the ongoing tornado on the ground. So again, 2 tornadoes on the ground right now. Central Mississippi, north of Montgomery, and south of Birmingham is where we're currently at. There is a tornado watch ongoing, by the way, until 8 o'clock Central Time or 9 o'clock Eastern Time. That will include areas back through western Georgia as well as eastern sections of Mississippi. There's also another tornado watch ongoing from about Louisiana all the way back through a large chunk of Alabama until 5 o'clock this afternoon in Central Time or 6 o'clock in Eastern Time, which I'm pretty sure the ongoing tornado warnings are in Eastern Time. So just a little heads up there. Timing obviously is now about 3 o'clock in this area. All right, let's go back over to the velocities on this storm. Again, this is the one that we definitely still have on the ground. The other one is clearly, it looks like, still on the ground as well. It may start to be weakening though. Here's the latest on the velocities. Let's go back to the correlation coefficient. Still showing a little bit of debris there on the radar. That is again west of Highway 231. It is quickly moving off to the east northeast, and again it will be tracking towards areas like Route 9. I'm pretty sure again this is a pretty rural area after it goes through Holtville. So Holtville right now is being impacted. It is now north of Wallsboro here in Mississippi, and it'll continue to track out to the east northeast over the next several minutes. And it's also right now, I believe it right now where it is actually on Lay Lake. It's kind of on a little bit of a river area there, so it might even turn into a little water spout there briefly and then potentially become a tornado again, which is possibly what the process is of this storm right now, with what the terrain looks like in this region. So again, north of Wallsboro near Highway 231, and it is continuing to track out to the east here over the next several minutes. Here are the velocities again. Tornado would be located right about here, which it does seem like we may have a bit of a weakening trend here, which is good news, but we will see what happens here over the next several minutes, because this is definitely a dangerous storm to watch for. Decent inflow is going into the storm just a moment ago as well. We have several other storms out there, by the way, that are developing as far south as areas back down near the Gulf Coast. So we'll have to watch the Gulf Coast as well this afternoon for the potential for a couple of tornadoes as well. There's a possibility for a strong tornado or two as well. Recent report that we just had coming in is over in Perry County, Alabama, at 12 o'clock and just past 12 o'clock Central Time. There was a possible tornado there. There was a couple of areas that we had a possible tornado, just west of Uniontown, over this direction near 69, and also just north of Marion. Those were the two locations that we've had some reports of damage from a possible tornado earlier today. If we have any additional information, we'll be for sure passing that on to you if we do get anything additional. Let's go back up to this other tornado warning going towards Stewartville. Let's see if there's any updates on this one. Here's the rotation, and I would expect there will be a tornado warning likely on this storm. That is starting to really strengthen there near I'm not gonna be able to say the name, near Sila. I'm not even able to say that, but it's near 280 right now. It's gonna be moving off to the east northeast here in central Mississippi. This is another area that we have, at least it looks like, some stronger rotation attempting to develop. The other storm that has a tornado on the ground as of a few minutes ago, it may have lifted at this point, is moving off to the north and east. I'm not seeing anything on the correlation coefficient that is defining a tornado here, but this is where that location is of where there could be a tornado at any time, or there might still be one ongoing, because again, there was one confirmed just a few minutes ago here west of Stewartville, moving towards Highway 231 and eventually towards Highway 280. Those will be the areas in the track of that storm. But back up here to the north is a pretty big concern here. At least some high winds, so at the bare minimum, a severe thunderstorm warning would be likely with this storm. But look at this, that is some pretty strong velocities. Again, here are your winds going towards the radar, winds going away from the radar, so you got that counterclockwise spin, and again, a tornado would be located right about there if there were to be one just to the west of Highway 280. So we'll have to watch this storm again. That one's not specifically tornado warned, but again, I would not be surprised if it does get tornado warned at any given time. That is definitely increasing in terms of rotation right now. Again, in central Mississippi. All right, let's go back down to the other storm real quick. Again, some broad rotation attempting to develop right now near Highway 280. Further to the south and back west of Stewartville, that is where we do have a little bit of rotation still remaining. It was a radar confirmed tornado a moment ago. It does seem like the rotation though is likely fizzling out for the time being, but again, it could very well recycle as this does continue to move off to the east. So those are the two storms that we're watching here up to the north, back just to the west, or excuse me, just to the south of Childersburg. And also back down here to the south, we have another storm that had a tornado on the ground north of Montgomery in Mississippi. And I've been saying Mississippi this entire time, and this is Alabama. I do apologize. This is Alabama. Wow, this is not good. I meant to say Alabama. I do apologize. We are in Alabama. I really do apologize about that. But back near 231, now I'm getting a phone call. Back near 231, we have an ongoing tornado warning here. This is moving off to the east in central Alabama. I really do apologize. That is awful by me. Really bad. I meant to say Alabama, but this is near Highway 231 moving off to the east. This tornado was originally on the ground. It is now moving off to the east with really not a whole lot of debris, it looks like, left remaining, if there's any being lifted up into the atmosphere here near Highway 231. Again, this is an ongoing possible tornado. It was on the ground a little while ago near Highway 231 moving off to the east going towards Route 9, and that'll continue to track out to the east here. But really the wind speeds do seem to still be kind of on the really starting to kind of weaken here with the velocities. Not nearly as tight of a rotation as we once did have back near north of 111, but it will be a storm to watch for here over the next several minutes as it continues to track out to the east-northeast. These storms are in a very favorable environment here in Alabama today for that potential for really any sort of tornado activity. We very well could see a couple of strong tornadoes with the setup that we have today, and with what we already have ongoing. By the way, we actually just got a severe thunderstorm warning on this storm, not a tornado warning. There was definitely a little bit of rotation there, possibly in the higher levels. Let's go hop over to this storm real quick. This one over here near Oak Grove is ongoing severe thunderstorm warning. Again, we had a little bit of rotation here. It's still on the broad side. It's moving off to the east northeast towards 21. It will continue to track out that direction at about 30 miles per hour. This is a storm to watch for though long term, because it did have a little bit of rotation at the beginning there. High winds as well near 280, and it will continue to track out to the east northeast over the next several minutes, and it's going to be really just riding along and north of 148 for that highest wind band. So make sure again you're staying away from windows here if you're in this region as well. Little update on a tornado warning further down here to the south. This is still an ongoing observed tornado. I'm pretty sure it's radar indicated. Let's go and double check that though. This is back near Highway 231. The latest update just came in a brief moment ago, about 5-6 minutes ago. It was still on the ground. Again, I don't think this tornado is still on the ground right now, but it could very well recycle as it continues to track out to the east towards 9. Let's go and take a look at the details real quick, but I'm pretty sure it's still radar indicated. Yeah, radar confirmed tornado here. Quarter-sized hail also possible with this storm, and if you look at some of these pink colors here near 231, that does indicate the possibility for a little bit of quarter-sized hail as this storm does continue to track out to the east. And that's pretty much what we got going down here right now in Alabama. If we go a bit further off to the north, there's another area that I want you to be mindful of if you're back over in northern Georgia or back through Tennessee. This is an entire line of storms producing damaging winds and a pretty scattered to numerous amount here, upwards of 60 miles per hour. Let's go and take a look. Yeah, so this is the current look at the line. It's north of Atlanta, Georgia, near areas like Dalton, going all the way back through central and eastern parts of Tennessee near Knoxville. So this is a pretty elongated line of storms producing damaging winds up to 60 miles per hour, and this is something that's going to be concerning because this line will continue to march out to the east, and it's not really going to show, it hasn't shown a whole lot of signs of weakening yet. It's been on a gradual weakening trend, but it's likely going to continue 60 mile per hour winds at least for the next couple of hours as this does push towards areas in eastern Tennessee and eventually possibly into western North Carolina. So we'll have to watch this closely, and in fact we actually do have a little severe thunderstorm warning here that does enter into western North Carolina, the farthest to western extent there. So definitely something to keep in mind there. All right, let's go back down to the tornado warnings that we have ongoing for now, and then we will keep an update again on every warning that we have ongoing today. 2 tornado warnings ongoing, and we also have right now 7 severe thunderstorm warnings. So that's the warning count as of right now. All right, how's everybody doing tonight or today? Man, I'm so off today. It's not even funny. I don't even know what's going on. All right, gonna go over to Twitter real quick and see if we have any other updates. It's not the night, it's day. All right, let's see. Yeah, again, no new updates on the tornado warnings. They are both still in the observed, quote-unquote, status. But again, I don't think either of these are on the ground right now. The one for sure up here near Stewartsville is more of a wind threat at this point. There's nothing indicating here that we still have a tornado on the ground up this direction. It looks to be more of now a straight-lined wind threat from those areas from Stewartville back through Highway 280 here in central Alabama. And then further down here to the south, then let me go ahead and put this on here. So further to the south, north of Montgomery in Alabama, this this area still has an ongoing tornado warning. It says observed tornado, obviously radar confirmed here. It did seem to weaken for the time being, but the latest radar scan is indicating we have a little bit of rotation starting to maybe turn back up again. So this might be recycling here in central Alabama, just east of Highway 231. So something to be mindful of here. This definitely could be recycling into a potential tornado warning cell over the next several minutes. So we'll keep you updated with the latest if anything does change here, and if it does end up becoming a tornado here again. But it does seem like we're beginning to see a little bit of rotation here develop again, which this was originally on the ground, and very well could have this be on the ground again at any point. This is back. This storm, by the way, here north of Walsboro. This is the one that we're on here in Alabama. Population of 678. The latest update is that this tornado warning is no longer observed. It's back down to a radar indicated warning. There you go, just condensed here. So near 9, this is where it's heading towards here in Elmore County, Alabama. This warning does go until 2:30 Central Time. So this region here in Alabama is still in Central Time Zone. So we'll stay on Central Time Zone for now. But this warning goes until 2:30 unless otherwise canceled. So that is the latest update there. So we're going to go back over to this screen and we'll put back on tornado warning. But we still have, yeah, so that this warning's been upgraded, or downgraded, I should say, to a radar indicated rotation. And then further back up to the north, the other tornado warning that we had ongoing just got canceled. So if you're in Stewartville, there's no need to stay in shelter anymore. I do recommend you stay away from windows because high winds upwards of 60 miles per hour could be possible with that straight line wind damage that we could see out of the leading edge of those storms a little bit further up to the north. But again, here in central Alabama, east of 231 is where we currently have an ongoing tornado warning. We're going to keep a close eye on this one. Again, your rotation's located in here, so it's likely to be a rain-wrapped tornado if there is to be a tornado. So don't try to be looking out your window or anything like that. Make sure you're staying away from windows, the lowest floor possible. If you're here near 9, again, this will be moving off to the east. We'll go ahead and put a little track on this storm as well, give you an idea of where this will be heading here in just a moment. Warning goes until 2:30. No specific locations are included in this anymore. It's north of Walsboro and east of Holtville, which Holtville just saw a tornado with this storm not too long ago. This was a tornado on the ground there for at least about 5 minutes or so, 5-10 minutes. All right, let's go and put a little track on this area of storms, which honestly, any part of this line could see a tornado at any point as these storms continue to evolve and mature as they move off to the east. So let's go and kind of put a track on this, give you an idea of if you're in the track of this one line of storms that's currently ongoing here in central Alabama. So areas on the left side of your screen are included. So Dadeville 244, Auburn 317, Lafayette 321, and that Lafayette is in Alabama, by the way. There's one over there in northern Georgia. We're not talking about northern Georgia with this cluster of storms. Eventually going towards Lanett right around 342, West Point 343, Valley 343 as well, and LaGrange right around 4:01 p.m. today. So that's the line right now down here in central Alabama. Again, this is north of Montgomery, so we're kind of in the really central part of Alabama, central eastern section there. And then back up near Birmingham, it's a lot more rain activity right now. So if we go a little bit further up here to the north, it's a lot more of just heavy rain. Couple of storms embedded in there, but for the most part, for the rest of the day today, you'll be dealing with rain with the possibility for a couple of storms to initiate back out here to the west, maybe along that cold frontal boundary later today, which might actually pose a threat for isolated severe weather. But other than that, it should be pretty minimal. All right, let's go back up here to the north, back over into Tennessee, as well as eventually going into western North Carolina. Actually, we do have a new tornado warning that was just issued in Georgia. Let's go ahead and hop over to that. This is actually up here in northwest Georgia. It should pop up on the screen here in just a second. Murray County, and there we go. So Murray County as well as Whitfield County, Georgia, under a brand new tornado warning. This one goes until 2:45 this afternoon. For Dalton, that is the main location near Interstate 75. So if you're included in this warning, seek shelter immediately away from windows and lowest floor possible. This is again near Dalton, southeast of Tunnel Hill in northern sections of Georgia. And it looks like where our rotation is likely to be located, it's going to be somewhere in this region here near Interstate 75. We are quite far away from the closest radar site, so it does make it a little bit more difficult to get a clear angle on this warning, or on this rotation, I should say. But it does seem like the strongest of the rotation is likely going to be located right in here near Dalton. And it will continue to track down to the southeast, by the way, over the next several minutes. So this isn't a situation where we're seeing an easterly direction with this storm. It's going more southeast than anything right now. So for those that are along Interstate 75 near Dalton and just down to the southeast of Dalton and in Dalton specifically, make sure that you are seeking shelter away from windows and lowest floor possible, as this storm does continue to march down to the southeast. But again, we're quite far away from the closest radar site, so it's a little bit more difficult to see that. But again, this is an entire cluster, really a line of storms that's ongoing here. If we go over to the lower depth radar, but gives us a general idea of this line, there is an entire line of storms that stretches from Tennessee all the way back through Alabama, and many of these storms are producing at least some sort of scattered damaging winds upwards of 60 miles per hour. So just make sure, again, if you're in any of these warnings, I do recommend you stay away from windows, so just in case any trees do fall from some of these damaging winds, then you will obviously have a safer spot in an interior room of your home in comparison to being close to a window. And we already have a report out of Athens, by the way, in Tennessee, of several trees down from a 911 call center. So just a little heads up, there's obviously trees falling from this because of the winds. The downburst winds upwards of 60 miles per hour are causing a potential here for several trees to be down. And obviously here in Athens, we already have several trees being reported down. Also a bit further to the south in Cleveland, a few minutes ago, there was a report of 56 mile per hour wind gusts. And back near Chattanooga over in southeast Tennessee, that area also had a 58 mile per hour wind report. That was from an ASAW station, which is essentially just from an airport measuring the wind speeds. Public reported downed trees as well, down tree limbs, along with shingles being blown off a roof there near Chattanooga. So there's obviously been some damage reported along this line. A bit further to the south and west in Dade County, Georgia, and Rising Fawn, this area also has a tree down on Cloverdale Road in Morgan Road. So again, trees are going to be falling down from these high winds, especially since we have so many trees in this part, really with the terrain and whatnot from Tennessee back through Alabama. So just be mindful of that. Again, stay away from windows if at all possible, and stay off the roadways until a lot of this rain does clear out, because it's definitely going to be very low visibility with how heavy this rain is here across Alabama, as well as northwest Georgia, all the way back into Tennessee. So definitely be something to be mindful of there. All right, let's hop back down to this tornado warning that is still ongoing here. Back near Holtville, this is east of Holtville, north of Wallsboro. We're going to go back over to the live radar here, and we'll go and put that back on and see what's happening here back here down to the south. And we're going to change off that one. There we go. So we'll take a closer look here and see if the rotation has subsided at this point. And no, it actually hasn't. This rotation is still remaining very strong here. Just along, it's about to cross over 9 here in the next 5 minutes. And the correlation coefficient's not picking up on a tornado right now, but strong rotation is ongoing again. So this storm is recycling. I would expect if the rotation does strengthen a little bit more here, or kind of stays at the level it's at, we'll probably see an additional tornado warning out in front of this, which for those that might be on front of this, not really a whole lot of known locations here. It's more south of Alexander City and southwest of Dadeville here in central Alabama, central eastern Alabama. So no really big known locations are right now in the exact track of this storm for right now. For right now, there's no tornado warnings that are ongoing, or excuse me, no tornadoes that are on the ground ongoing. This one, though, could be on the ground at any time. We did have a tornado on the ground at the very beginning of the stream. We actually had 2 on the ground, so we've already had a couple ongoing here at the very beginning. But for right now, it seems like the one back up to the north that was back near Stewartville is no longer on the ground. This one has been on the ground, and it is possibly going to be on the ground again. It's kind of in a recycling stage right now. And latest radar update just came in. Rotation is actually fizzling out again. So again, it's trying to recycle a little bit. It seems to be struggling again. Velocities are a little bit weaker here. It is very rain wrapped. And by the way, there is no clear inflow into the storm right now. So that would really lead me to believe that there will not probably be much of any tornado activity with this storm here in the long term. At least for right now, or at least a short term, I should say. So near 9 and just south of 259 does seem to as if that this is probably a bit of a weakening tornado warning cell, which is good news for sure. And then back up here to the north, we are watching the other storm as well near Dalton. Let's hop back actually up to that storm in Dalton, the other tornado warning that we have ongoing. This is near Interstate 75. In the current rotation, we'll go back to the velocities here, if they want to load. One moment. Oh my goodness, that is crazy. Let's go back over to the base velocities here. No, we're going to do storm relative velocity. Again, it seems like if there was to be a tornado with this storm near Dalton, it's likely going to be located kind of down here near Interstate 75. But I'm again trying to get, yeah, here we go. So this is the latest on the storm relative velocities, which were quite far away from the radar site, which is all the way back over in Alabama, by the way. And again, no clear depiction here of rotation really being that strong with this storm. But again, we are quite far away from the radar site, makes it harder to see here on radar. But make sure you're in shelter. Again, this does include areas like Dalton, Rocky Face, and Tilton. Those are the main locations included in this tornado warning up here in northwest Georgia. So if you're included in that warning, again, seek shelter away from windows and lowest floor possible. Other areas that are included in warnings right now extend from Tennessee all the way back through Chattanooga. All those areas right now are under severe thunderstorm warnings for the potential for damaging winds up to 60 miles per hour. We do have a more recent damage report that just came in back up here near Stevensville. Tree down on White Oak Gap Road. So the latest report there in northwest Georgia near Dade County. We actually have a couple of reports of trees down there in northwest Georgia, and we have another report that just came in of a tree down on White Oak Gap Road. So that's the latest report that we have there as well. So again, trees for sure are going to be coming down along this area, and even back up in Cleveland, back over in Bradley County in Tennessee. This area also has several trees down across the county. So there are going to be a lot of trees falling down with these high winds that we have ongoing. Again, this is a elongated area of storms. It's a good 100 to 150 miles long here that extends from about really eastern parts of Tennessee near Knoxville all the way back down through northwest Georgia. And then we have another area of storms here that extends from eastern sections of Alabama back through Montgomery. So that's kind of our area of storms right now that we have ongoing. And we are still monitoring the potential, by the way, for tornadic cells as well, a bit further to the south, just north of the Gulf Coast, north of Mobile, Alabama. This is an area to watch for this afternoon for the possibility for a couple of strong tornadoes. This is definitely not out of the question, so we'll be monitoring that pretty closely. We're going to go back over, I think the latest Storm Prediction Center update just came in here like just moments ago, so we're going to take a look at that here in just a second. This is the other tornado warning cell that's ongoing until 2:30. I would expect that this warning will not be ongoing for much longer. Velocities are not nearly as strong as they once were, so it does seem like this might be in a weakening trend right now. All right, we're going to go back over to Twitter and see if we have any updates there on the pretty sure the next update, or it might have already come up. Let's go back over to the, I think there's a new update. Yeah, so there's a new mesoscale discussion. We're going to go over to that. Latest on the mesoscale discussion, we're going to pull up on the map and kind of give you an idea where this is at. So for those across really all of Alabama, for the most part, from really eastern Alabama back through southwest Alabama, this entire region is currently involved in a mesoscale discussion. Essentially states that the tornado risk continues and it will remain maximized within the southwest to northeast zone across central Alabama. So that's the latest update there from the Storm Prediction Center on the ongoing threat for severe weather, and that is really where it's pretty much been this entire time. If we go back over to the outlook for today, the enhanced risk of severe weather still remains. It's primarily from eastern Mississippi all the way back through central and southern sections of Alabama, and we do have a tornado warning ongoing again in that region of that enhanced risk, and back through the slight risk of severe weather from areas in northwest Georgia back through eastern Tennessee. This entire region here is dealing with the line of storms capable of damaging winds up to 60 miles per hour, along with an ongoing tornado warning as well in northwest Georgia. So there's obviously a lot of weather still to be had here across the southeast United States, and we actually do have a marginal threat of severe weather, by the way, back over in Illinois and Indiana, so we'll watch that closely. It's more of a damaging wind threat for today, but I wouldn't rule out a brief tornado. Here's the tornado outlook for today as well. So for those down in the southern tier of the United States, obviously has the highest chance of a tornado threat today. It is again primarily going to be focused across eastern Mississippi as well as through a large chunk there of southern Alabama, and then all the way back through areas in Tennessee. There is a 5% probability that extends from Louisiana all the way back there through central and southern portions of Tennessee. However, that tornado threat is going to be diminishing throughout the day today. There's a possibility for a couple of storms tonight that could potentially have a low tornado threat as well, but that threat should be definitely lowering as that initial line does roll through here, the states of Tennessee, Alabama, and eventually going to Georgia tonight. Latest update, by the way, we still have rotation on this storm near 9, so we're watching this storm closely. This is associated with the ongoing tornado warning, by the way, or just northeast now, the tornado warning. This was the original tornado warning, though. It had a ongoing tornado on the ground back near Holtville not too long ago. It is continuing to move off to the east, and it does seem like the storm is trying again to recycle here in eastern now sections of Alabama. So we'll be watching this closely as it continues to move off to the east. We also have an update on a severe thunderstorm warning in Polk County, Tennessee. There is an observed threat now of 60-mile-per-hour winds, and that is the latest update back up there. So again, currently the ongoing warning count, which is at the bottom right of your screen, we have seven severe thunderstorm warnings along with 1 tornado warning, and that tornado warning I believe may have already been let to expire now. But the ongoing rotation, which is trying to develop again, is west of 63 and east of 259. So we'll monitor to see if this does end up trying to strengthen again as it moves off to the east. And thank you, Clocks, by the way, for becoming a 2-month tornado chaser member. I appreciate that. Thank you. How's everybody doing today, by the way? Hope everybody's having a good afternoon so far. It's been a busy last 48 hours for sure. All this weather that we have had ongoing. This isn't the only weather, by the way. We've had, obviously, the winter storm back up in the northern tier of the United States, which is pretty concerning. So there's been a lot of weather ongoing here for the last several days. It's not just severe weather, which a lot of people think it's just severe weather, but obviously it's not. We do have a new tornado warning that was just issued, by the way. This does include areas east of 259 and 9 going to the east. So those in Jackson's Gap as well as Dadeville are included in a very long tornado warning, by the way, because this storm does continue to rotate. So if you're in anywhere like Jackson's Gap as well as Dadeville, make sure you're seeking shelter away from windows and lowest floor possible if you're included in this warning as it continues to march out to the east. Other towns include Our Town and Camp Hill. So those are the latest areas that are included in this brand new tornado warning that is again moving right now off to the east. So we'll keep you updated with the latest on this warning because again, brand new tornado warnings ongoing here, and there's definitely a chance that this does drop another tornado, which it already has dropped one. Not out of the question that it drops another here as this continues to move off to the east. So that's the latest on this tornado warning here. Again, population of about 10,000 in the track of this. So Dadeville, Jackson's Gap, Camp Hill along Highway 280 are the 3 main locations included. In the short term, Our Town, that's the town name, Our Town, is right about here near areas along 63. So Our Town's going to be the closest in the track of this rotation right now with this ongoing tornado warning. Here's the latest radar update, by the way. So clearly, again, that rotation is moving not too quickly off to the east. It's moving at a good 30 miles per hour or so. So you got a few minutes if you're in Dadeville, Jackson's Gap, or Camp Hill to be able to get to your safe place. Again, don't wait too long. Just make sure you get there within the next minute or two as the storm does continue to march out to the east. If you're in Our Town, though, make sure that you are getting to your safe place now rather than later. Main counties include Coosa County, Elmore County, really the eastern section there of Elmore County, and Tallapoosa County. Those are the areas included in this brand new tornado warning that is, again, continuing to march out to the east. Hey, Sniper, how you doing? Welcome back. How you doing, Shelly, by the way? Hope you're doing well. Hope you're doing safe, by the way, over there in California. Yes, I can put up the correlation coefficient. There's the CC. Nothing on the correlation coefficient as of right now. Pretty much just straight out rain right now. Obviously, no debris being lifted up into the atmosphere for this given time. That, again, could very well change as this storm continues to march out to the east. But again, if you're in Our Town, get to your safe place immediately. If you're in Dadeville, Jackson's Gap, or Camp Hill, make sure you're getting ready to get to your safe place. You've got about a couple minutes, but I do recommend you get to your safe place now rather than later. Latest update from the North Carolina area. In western North Carolina, there is a brand new severe thunderstorm warning for Graham County and Swain County. And that's going to be for 60-mile-per-hour winds. So if you're in those two counties, just a little heads up, severe thunderstorm warning has been issued back over that direction. Also, we just have a report, by the way. A funnel cloud was reported apparently in Bellevue, Florida from about half an hour ago, which is interesting. So not ongoing anymore, but from about half an hour ago, there was actually a report of a funnel cloud, which is interesting, back over in Bellevue, Florida. Little heads up there. I guess that's probably down in west. I'm assuming that's in the Florida Panhandle, because that's an area that has a possibility for a tornado threat today. So we'll be watching that as well. But it's a pretty low threat the further south you go. Look at the radar here real quick. Yeah, there's actually a couple of storms back down there in Florida. That there's actually one that has a rotation near Milton. We're gonna hop down to that real quick. We'll go back to the storm here in a second. But there is a storm back down over near Brent, northeast of Brent near Milton. That's northeast of Pensacola. Looking from one radar site, yeah, we have some rotation here over near Pace in Milton. So we might actually end up getting a tornado warning on this. This is north of the Gulf Coast. Nothing on the correlation coefficient for now, but this little cell does have actually some rotation there west of Milton, so something to be monitoring there north of Interstate 10, and again northeast of Pensacola, Florida. So maybe something to watch for there. And then if we go a little bit further off to the east here, it's a couple of other areas to monitor. Any storms that are coming in here off the Gulf Coast could have that possibility for a little bit of rotation. Other radar sites also showing that rotation there just off to the west right now of Milton. So if you're in that area, just be mindful. You might get a tornado warning there at any time, so we'll be watching that closely as well. We're gonna go back over to the tornado warning that's ongoing south of Alexander City, though, here in central eastern Alabama. This is going to be going towards Jackson's Gap in Dadeville over the next several minutes. So if you're in these areas, make sure again you're getting to your safe place, away from windows, and lowest floor possible as that continues to move off to the east. Central Kansas is not going to see anything in terms of at least severe weather. You're not going to see any of that sort of stuff. You are clear. By the way, if you're tuning in for the first time, make sure to hit that subscribe button down below. Like the video as well, helps us get out to more people that are in the track of these storms. And again, if you have any questions, I'll be answering some of those throughout the stream as well. So all right, here's the latest update on the velocities. Again, not really any big changes here. It looks to be more of a wind threat for right now. It is trying to recycle, and this storm, again, has been trying to for the last about 5, 10, 15 minutes now, and it is just struggling. And this is where the rotation is. It's in a big clump of rain right now. So there's obviously, if there were to be a tornado, it's going to be rain wrapped. But for right now, there's a lot of rain around it, which doesn't really hinder a tornado's development that significantly. It can in some instances, but in this sort of situation, it just seems like it's getting kind of caught behind a lot of this rain cool air. And it's probably struggling to really develop here at the surface. Again, the velocity is closer to the surface, not really indicating a whole lot of strong rotation there. It's definitely broadening out a lot more. It will continue to march over towards Dadeville and Jackson's Gap in the next 15 minutes or so. But again, if you're in those areas, I would recommend getting to your safe place within the next 5 minutes in comparison to anywhere later, because again, this will be moving. It's moving 30 miles per hour, so it's not slow by any means. So if you're in Dadesville, Jackson's Gap, or Camp Hill, make sure you get to your safe place. Our town along 63 is included right now in the really short term of that storm as well. We have a little bit of rotation, by the way, back up here near 148 west of Ashland, so we'll have to watch this storm too. Right now going towards Lineville as well. That is in really eastern central Alabama, southeast of Birmingham as well, so we'll be watching that one closely. Brand new severe thunderstorm warning was issued near Jackson in Alabama. We'll see if I don't think there's any. Yeah, this is the closest radar site. Let's go down to this one. There's a severe thunderstorm warning down this direction for 60-mile-per-hour winds. No really hail threat is out of this. Maybe a little bit of small hail would be about all. This warning goes until 3:15 Central Time. So if you're in Camden, Grove Hill, or Fulton, make sure you stay in your safe place, away from windows, lowest floor possible, just in case there's any trees that fall down and whatnot. Especially if you're around, if you're not in a field, for example, and you're near a house with a lot of trees around it, it's a good idea to probably get to your away from windows, just in case any trees do fall from that storm. That's the latest update on this warning, which does include Wilcox County, Monroe County, and Clark County here in southwest Alabama. So we'll be keeping a close eye on that one as well. Tornado warning back up in Georgia has expired, by the way. Severe thunderstorm warning as well for Cleveland and the Chattanooga area in southeast Tennessee has also expired. So we're primarily going to be keeping a closer eye on this storm further down to the south here in eastern Alabama now. And this is the one that has the possibility for a tornado over the next several minutes. We'll watch it as it moves off to the east. Again, west of Dadeville and Jackson's Gap, that is where that rotation is located. So nothing too impressive here in terms of the velocities. It's, again, not really strengthening a whole lot right now, but it might be something to watch if it's able to recycle over the next several minutes as it moves off towards Jackson's Gap and Dadeville. So we'll keep a close eye on that. Hey gamer, how you doing? Welcome. Happy birthday, by the way. 17th year on the planet. There you go. On the planet. Very broad. And also, by the way, I was planning on doing a long live stream today. I was going to go live this morning. and hence I didn't really wake up. So this stream will probably be at least an hour or two. We'll see how long things go for here. For right now, though, it's obviously the majority of the tornadic activity so far has been limited for the most part, which is good. Obviously, we had a lot more activity, I think, late morning, early afternoon from what I saw. So for right now, it does seem like the majority of the warnings have been kind of limited. This is the one tornado warning that we have ongoing. Rotation, again, it's not overly strong here. The other tornado warning that we did have ongoing was in northwest sections of Georgia. So those are the couple of areas that we have some stuff ongoing there. And yeah, let me go back over to Twitter real quick. And yeah, this warning again is still ongoing for Dadeville County, Camp Hill County, and Jackson's Gap County until 3 o'clock Central Time. So if you're in those areas, again, make sure that you're staying away from windows, lowest floor possible, interior room of your home. And that is the latest update there. Yeah, no other updates at the moment. Hey, Pro Magic, how you doing? Welcome back. I'm doing well. Thanks for asking. I'm doing a little bit better than yesterday. Yesterday was a, for those that didn't watch already, I mean, obviously the stream's different, but before the stream last night, the Damar Hamlin thing happened on live TV, and I was watching that game live, and it was a scary thing to watch. And I'm guessing a few of you at least have heard of it. If not, a lot of you probably have. It was on national news, I'm pretty sure, this morning, and it was a very scary thing. And honestly, it drove, I mean, like, I was really emotional, and it was hard for me to even go live last night because of just the implications of it. And even today, I was watching some sports shows this morning, or really late morning, early afternoon, and I was thinking about going live, and just, man, the emotions have been just brewing for me. It's such a hard thing to watch, you know, but that sort of thing would happen to Damar Hamlin, and it was so hard to watch. And I'm not even a Bills fan. I'm not any of those fans, but just watching that sort of thing on live TV it's just difficult to watch. It's never happened either, you know. It's never happened like that. But I think really, obviously, there's not a whole, I haven't heard any news about it, but there is some good news that the foundation that he has actually raised over $4 million, which is remarkable. It just shows, you know, how supportive people are here. And yeah, I mean, it was difficult to watch, though, to say the least. I think, again, a lot of you guys have probably heard about it at this point, but we don't, it sounds like cardiac arrest was what happened, but otherwise I don't have a clue. That's still, I think I've seen a lot of speculation and stuff as well, but that's besides that. We do have a brand new tornado warning that has been issued, by the way. This is the storm that I did mention is probably going to get a warning. I'm pretty sure it's the one here near Okaloosa in Santa Rosa County here in Florida. Yeah, this is northeast of Pensacola. We have a brand new tornado warning. It has yet to be issued, or at least shown here on the radar here, but there's a tornado warning issued for this storm here, north of Pace and near Milton. So some strong rotation's been ongoing here, a little bit further off to the north and east now, but this is near 87. Strong rotation ongoing north of Milton. So if you're in this region, make sure you seek shelter away from windows and lowest floor possible. Again, this is an ongoing tornado warning now has just been issued on here. So again, make sure you seek shelter away from windows and lowest floor possible. That is an ongoing tornado warning, not on the ground, at least according to the National Weather Service at this time. However, it could happen at any time. It is radar indicated rotation quickly moving off to the northeast here in Florida. So if you're over here in the panhandle of Florida, you're not out of the question for potentially seeing a couple of tornadoes today. So just be mindful of that. Yes, tornadoes in Florida. I know, isn't it shocking? Yeah, the northern or the western section of Florida, so if you're in like the panhandle, they are included in at least a marginal threat for severe weather this afternoon. So I watched the game since about 8:20, and 8:20 was when the Ohio State game was going on. So I was watching the tail end of that, which was, or no, Ohio State, Penn State, and I watched literally up until that happened, and I was watching the entire thing, and man, it was hard. Did anybody else watch that live last night, or was it just me? I literally watched the entire thing, and it was heartbreaking to watch. Again, prayers for Damar Hamlin and his entire family. It was so difficult to watch. Literally, my emotions were so high last night. They still are today, so it's tough. You're watching live as a Bengals fan, yeah, and you know it's crazy. Life is bigger than sports, though. Sure. Kind of goes to show you, though, things can happen just like that in any sport. It's not just football. It can happen really in any sport. And I know there's been things like this that have happened before, but man, it was way unexpected. Way unexpected. Hey Brady, how you doing? Yeah, I mean, and the thing is about sports, and I know I'm going to talk about weather here in just a second, but with sports, you know, ambulances have come out in the field before, but this was a bigger magnitude, just felt like all around. You know, because earlier this season I was watching a Patriots game, an ambulance came out in the field, and it was scary to see that too, but this was just, it felt really different. When I heard the word CPR, that is when I literally thought, you know, worst comes to worst here. I mean, I never thought that far deep into any sort of injury in NFL, but yeah. It was scary. All the NFL Twitters have changed their profiles, have they? I have to do that. Yeah, I saw the number 3 jersey from the Buffalo Bills. Yeah, everybody's doing it. Patriots have too. I might have to do that. I mean, man, it's hard to watch. Not realize I did that. Yeah, I heard that that his mother was in the stands, and I'm pretty sure she went to the hospital with them. So, tough situation. Hey Jen, how you doing? Welcome back. That's CPR certification. There you go. Hey, that's a good thing. It's always a good thing. Having those sort of things, knowing those sort of things too, really goes a long way. It can go a long way too in a lot of situations. Severe weather in Fishers, Indiana. I'm not sure where that is in Indiana, but if you're in like western sections of Indiana, you are included in at least a marginal threat for severe weather. I would say it's a pretty low chance today, but I would not rule out that you see a possibility for an isolated severe storm if you're in that western tier there of Indiana. All right, back up here to the north over in Alabama. Again, this is the other tornado warning that we've been monitoring back near Jackson's Gap, Dadeville, and Camp Hill. This region is currently included in a tornado warning. Rotation has not been overly strong. The ongoing rotation is going to be approaching areas near Jackson's Gap over the next several minutes. So if you're in Jackson's Gap, just stay in your safe place away from windows. Dadeville as well, or Dadeville, excuse me. You should also stay in your safe place right now. Get away from windows, lowest floor possible. Interior room of your house. We do have a severe thunderstorm warning to the south of that. That does actually include Montgomery, Alabama. So if you're in Montgomery, there's a little severe storm down here. Look at this cell back near Montgomery. It looks like it's trying to maybe form a little hook here near Interstate 65. So if you're back over near Montgomery, make sure you are also staying away from windows if there's any, you know, wind damage. There's also possibly a little bit of up to quarter-sized hail here. This would be where that hail is if there were to be quarter-sized hail. So near Interstate 85 and 65, that junction there, moving off to the east-northeast, that is a storm that we'll be watching closely for Montgomery, Alabama. There's definitely some rotation there right now, and it is moving off to the northeast. We also have another storm a bit further up here to the north. This one not really rotating. This one down here I don't believe is rotating too much right now near Montgomery. And yeah, I'm not seeing anything definitive there in terms of velocities and rotation. And the other storm a bit further up to the northeast of Montgomery seems to be the same way. We do have a brand new tornado warning that was just issued as well in eastern Alabama. This is going to include areas west of Lineville. And it'll be heading towards Lineville over the next little while. Rotation, not too strong right now. It's kind of in the broad stage, but it will be something to monitor as that moves off towards 1:30 and 9. Again, Lineville, Alabama is in the track of this ongoing tornado warning. So make sure you're staying away from windows, lowest floor possible, interior room of your house, as the storm again continues to move off to the east at about 30 miles per hour. Thank you, Super, by the way, for becoming a 1-month tornado chaser. Remember, I appreciate that a lot. Appreciate your support, as always. Thank you very much. Yeah, it was crazy. It was crazy, to say the least. Last day of winter vacation. I know some people are going back to school tomorrow. And time flies. It literally felt like break just started literally yesterday. Like really, it literally felt like started literally yesterday. Back north of Pensacola, back over to this warning. Again, we have 1 tornado warning in Florida, 2 in Alabama. Rotation is still not tight and confined to the point where we can definitely say there's a tornado on the ground here. It is radar indicated rotation from the National Weather Service, but it is a storm to watch as it tracks to the north and east. It'll be heading towards Highway 4. Again, northeast of Pensacola. It is not going towards Pensacola, Florida, but northeast of Pensacola, Florida, moving off to the northeast. just staying off to the east of 87, and it'll be going towards 4 over the next little while. No known town, or at least cities, in the track of this right now, but I'll be monitoring it to see if there's any new developments there. And the other tornado warning, by the way, has expired, I believe. Yeah, the other tornado warning did expire. Back near Dadeville and Alexander City, tornado warning's no longer ongoing there. Tornado warning back up here near Ashland, though, and Lineville is ongoing here. This is a storm that we were watching earlier. Rotation is beginning to strengthen a little bit with this cell. So if you're included in this warning here, Ashland as well as Lineville, make sure you get to your safe place away from windows, lowest floor possible. Delta and Barfield are also going to be in the track of this as it continues to track out to the east. So 2 different locations right now in the track of this for this potential tornado warning right now. So again, moving off to the east right now at about 30 miles per hour. And by the way, this tornado warning for other locations, again, it includes Delta, Lineville, Ashland, and Pyroton. So those are the areas included in this tornado warning. So Pyroton's the other one. It doesn't show on this map, but that's the other area as well. Barfield's also included in this. So if you're in eastern Alabama, again, make sure you get to your safe place. If you're included in this warning, that includes the pink box here, and it'll eventually go off to the east. Areas on front of this, it'll eventually go into the furthest eastern county here of Alabama, near Woodland and Wedowee, and it'll eventually go into Georgia. So this will be a storm to watch for a little bit later on as well. If you're in western Georgia, maybe a storm to monitor here as this continues to track out to the east. Latest on the correlation coefficient, not showing any debris on the radar as of now, but again, that could change at any time. The rotation is not tight and confined here, so obviously without really a tight rotation, typically we do not see debris on radar. But if we do end up seeing this storm strengthen a bit more, mature a bit more, and kind of really start to strengthen rotation, it will likely have something on radar if it's actually having a tornado on the ground. So correlation coefficient does come in handy for these sort of situations in terms of if there's a tornado on the ground or not. So I'll be watching that pretty closely here. Thanks, Brady. Appreciate it. Hey, no problem, Mega. No problem. Your birthday month. Happy birthday. How many tornado warnings so far today? There's at least been 10, I think. Maybe upwards of a dozen. Somewhere in that range. Not a lot, though. And also, by the way, for anybody in Alabama, anywhere in these states, man, there's a lot of I mean, there's like a lot of rain going on right now. So if you're anywhere in Alabama, in Florida, or really not Florida, but more of Alabama right now, and if you're anywhere in the state, there's a lot of rain out there. So if you have any driving plans, I do recommend kind of waiting. One second. Okay. Back over to Twitter real quick. We'll see if there's any other updates. Again, we're going to be mainly focusing on this tornado warning for now, unless there's any big changes further to the south in the Panhandle of Florida, because the Panhandle of Florida is another area that we'll have to monitor, because again, there is a tornado warning ongoing northeast of Pensacola, Florida. Pretty rural area, but it is currently off to the north of Milton. So if you're familiar there with the Panhandle of Florida, that is where that warning's ongoing. We actually have an update, by the way, on the storm near Montgomery, Alabama. This is another one to watch for. Back down near Montgomery and the Interstate 85 and 65 area. This is a storm that has potentially some large hail. Up to $half sized hail is now possible. It is right now riding along Interstate 85 and going towards Highway 231 and Highway 80 over the next several minutes. If we go over the velocities as well, again, I'm not seeing anything too definitive here, but this is an ongoing storm that actually now has a tornado possible label on it. So that is just something to keep in mind as well. So there is actually a tornado possible label on this. So if it's able to strengthen in the long term, we actually could end up seeing this potentially becoming a storm that does have some sort of tornadic aspect to it in the long term. So we'll watch that closely. No problem, bro. Hey, thanks, Connie. I need to. I know. I know. Just haven't had time to do it. Let's zoom back out a little bit here. Again, we do have 2 tornado warnings ongoing. I think I have 2 on the screen, right? No, I actually have 1. We have 2 tornado warnings ongoing. Again, there's 1 in eastern Alabama. We got 1 down here in Florida as well. The 1 in Florida just got an update. No longer a hail threat here. It's just for a possible tornado threat with this storm. So let's go back over to the live radar feed. Again, this is what the storm looks like. It does seem like it's kind of weakening a little bit here, but this is the rotation. Still has some strong winds going towards the radar here, so at least some sort of strong velocities on one hand. On the other hand, going away from the radar, not nearly as strong. So it does seem like this rotation may be kind of weakening a bit here as it moves towards Highway 4 and moves off to the north and east. So something to be mindful here. Again, if you're in portions of the Panhandle of Florida, you are not out of the question for a possible tornado or 2 today. But for right now, the majority of the Panhandle of Florida right now is really just looking at few passing clouds, maybe an isolated shower or storm if you're back over here in the north and east of Pensacola. Back over here, we actually have a little hook here, not a whole lot of rotation, but we might get a little small tornado with this cell. It's able to mature a little bit. There's a little bit of a hook here, so maybe something to watch there near Highway 2. Geneva will be in the track of that eventually there in south and southeastern sections of Alabama. Back over near Montgomery, Alabama. Again, this is an area that we had a pretty severe storm near Jackson. Or, excuse me, not near Jackson, but by Montgomery. There's still one back over near Thomasville. Back over near Montgomery is a storm that we'll be watching pretty closely as it moves off to the north and east towards Interstate 85. Because, again, this one has a possibility for some rotation. I mean, it already has a little bit of broad rotation. Right now, the more concerning feature is the hail threat with the quarter-sized to half-dollar-sized hail right now. But there's definitely a possibility that this does end up producing maybe a tornado threat down the road, and literally down the road. This is Interstate 85 right here. It's going to be going right pretty much down Interstate 85 for a little while. Hail core is just now to the north of Interstate 85 near Highway 80 and Highway 53 and 231. This will eventually move off to the northeast. It's going to be going into a bit more of rural territory. Tallahassee or Tallahassee, sorry, I said Tallahassee. Tallahassee is going to be next on the track of this in a little bit. So if you're over in that location back near 14, that'll be the region that's next in track of this storm here over the next little while. So be keeping a close eye on this one here east of Montgomery, Alabama. Let's go back over to the tornado warning that is ongoing in or just west of Lineville. Take a look at this and see if there's any new updates here. This is the radar update from 243. The other one should come in here in just a second. The latest scan's coming in right now, so we'll have that here in just a moment. This is the rotation from 243, and in comparison, we'll have the 247, I think, update here in just a second. Maybe in a second. Oh, there it just came up, and I need to refresh it again. I do apologize. This radar is very finicky. Again, tornado warnings ongoing for Asheville and Lineville, as well as Delta and Barfield in eastern Alabama. So if you're in those areas, make sure you're seeking shelter away from windows and lowest floor possible. It does seem like, oh, there we go. All right, so here's the velocities again, west of Lineville. Again, the rotation's not overly tight or strong right now. These are your winds going towards the radar. These are the winds going away from the radar. So if there is to be a tornado with this, it's likely to be located there just to the west of Ashland. So again, if you're in Ashland, get to your safe place now. If you're over in Lineville as well, you want to make sure you're getting to your safe place as well. If you're out in front of this warning, the furthest eastern county there in Alabama will be in the track of this eventually near Woodland. So if the storm is still rotating by then, you might get into a tornado warning. So if you're that far to the east, make sure you have your plan in place now rather than later. Is it close to Daytona? You're talking about Daytona Beach, Valerie? Because it's definitely not close to Daytona Beach. Daytona Beach will not see severe weather today. I'm pretty sure you're not going to either tomorrow. Let me just double check. Tomorrow even, you're not going to be under any threat of severe weather. So yeah, nothing for you in terms of severe weather in Daytona Beach. Good news there. Hey Virginia, how you doing? Welcome back. Hey Aiden, how you doing? I'm doing good. How about you? I'm doing good. Thank you, by the way, Romerio, for subscribing. I appreciate it. Welcome. By the way, my New Year's resolution, and I had somebody ask this last night. I've come up with a couple. All right, so one is talking slower. This is something I've been struggling to do. I don't know why. And I still have this issue. I talk way too fast. I want to be able to talk clear, more concise and stuff, but I really gotta fix that this year, and I want to on these live streams as well. Like, that's the biggest goal right now. And then also fixing my glasses. They keep, for whatever reason, slipping. So somebody brought that up on Twitter. So But those are the two New Year's resolutions here for the YouTube channel. That's it. I honestly do not care about subscribers or anything like that. I just want to be able to get these two things fixed, and I just want to be better at presenting weather information and stuff like that, because it's been a bit of a struggle recently. Been talking way too fast. I'm gonna struggle though for a while. I really want to fix that, and not talking slow as in this slow, but like to an extent slow it down, because I do talk way too fast in certain warnings and stuff like that. And I'm sorry for your loss, by the way. Very sorry for your loss. It gets better there soon. Again, we're currently monitoring the tornado warning in eastern sections of Alabama. So if you're just tuning in, again, we are right now in eastern Alabama, west of Ashland and west of Lineville. So if you're in this area, again, make sure that you're staying in your safe place, away from windows and lowest floor possible. This storm is continuing to move off to the east right now in east-northeast. It'll be going towards Highway 9 as well as Highway 49. So those will be the locations and track of this here over the next little while. We actually have a brand new severe thunderstorm warning in Louisiana, and this is a pretty significant warning. We're going to hop over to this one. This is for up to golf ball sized hail. Something I didn't think I'd actually say today. This is for golf ball sized hail and 60-mile-per-hour winds. Tornado is not listed on this warning, so if you're over in this area back over west of 124, make sure you're getting away from windows, and also get your car into your garage if you're out in front of this warning. This is a pretty significant warning here for golf ball sized hail, something I haven't said in months, by the way. We haven't mentioned golf ball sized hail in a while, which is kind of crazy. So yeah, golf ball sized hail right now near 3102 along with 124. Those are the areas that I'm track of that. Eventually going just south of Jonesville. We'll monitor that closely, but again, golf ball sized hail is not something I've been mentioning really at all over the last several months. It's something that's surprising. All right, back over. It's not obviously, that's obviously a possibility today. Hail is not out of the question today. It's just the lapse rates aren't overly that high today. Let me look at the lapse rates real quick. Pretty sure the lapse rates are not too high today, which would usually typically lean towards a lower hail threat overall. And yeah, the lapse rates are fairly low today, and even in Louisiana, they're not that high. But cooler weather behind this cold front and whatnot is probably equivalating to some of that help to have some hail there as well. But lapse rates are right now really across most of the state of Alabama. Even the lapse rates down here closer to Montgomery, Alabama, are near 7 degrees Celsius per kilometer, supportive of a little bit of hail. But yeah, back over to the west in Louisiana, they're right around 6. So it's interesting. For those that don't know what a lapse rate is, it's basically what the temperature is as we go up in the atmosphere. So how quickly the temperature declines as we go throughout the atmosphere. So as you know, at the surface, the temperature usually starts at, let's just say, 70 degrees. It'll decrease by about 7 degrees Celsius per kilometer. That's what I'm referring to. So lapse rates do have a pretty key role, though, in hailstones and whatnot, and how much hail we see and how high the hail threat is. An example for today, the hail threat is not that high. It's definitely on the lower scale right now in terms of severe weather. The main concern actually today, believe it or not, is really the tornado threat along with damaging winds. Damaging winds is like the highest threat, which isn't high. I would say it's kind of the medium scale. Tornado threat is just like a hair below medium, and then the hail threat is also right around that medium scale as well, but I'd say it's kind of on the lower end anyways. Yeah, quite interesting there. All right, let's go back over to the other tornado warning here near Ashland and Lineville. Again, we do have a little bit of rotation here. It's not strong to this point. It has been at this current time, and still is kind of really on the weaker end. There's a lot more wind, I would say, right now more than anything. But if it's able to really kind of strengthen, which it has the opportunity to, if it's able to kind of organize itself, mature with the kind of setup it has with the convective setup, it might be able to produce a tornado as it approaches Lineville. So if you're in Lineville, just a little heads up there, you may have a storm on your way. So be monitoring that pretty closely. We have a new tornado warning, by the way, in sections of southeast Alabama. This is actually southeast, or actually more east than anything, of Montgomery, Alabama, and also south of Tuskegee. There is a new tornado warning near Highway 29 and 15. Let's hop over to this. This is the ongoing storm here, and no really definitive hook, but this is where there would be a tornado. It would be further down near the south end of this storm, And if we go back over to the velocities, that is kind of where that rotation is. It's a little bit off the storm, but that is where our rotation is right now. It's just west of Highway 29. So again, if you're in southeast portions of Alabama, there's a brand new tornado warning. It includes areas like Davisville, Society Hill, Creek Stand, Warrior Stand, and Fort Davis. So if you're included in this warning, again, stay away from windows, lowest floor possible, interior room of your home. That's the latest on that new tornado warning here in southeast Alabama. Madison, I would say the threat is going to be more during the next few hours. There's a possibility, though, for a few storms overnight tonight in northeast Georgia for sure. There's definitely a possibility there. No problem, bro. If you want to know more about Membership Super, you can click the join button. All right, let's go back to the storm here. Let's go back to the reflectivity. Again, this is what the reflectivity looks like as of a couple of minutes ago. The next radar scan comes in here in a minute. But again, if there were to be a tornado located with this cell here in southeast Alabama, likely going to be located west of Highway 29. So south of Tuskegee, again, moving off to the northeast. Again, stay away from windows, lowest floor possible, interior room of your home, and away from windows. Again, this is definitely a dangerous storm to watch for as it continues to move off to the north and east. Chambers and Tallapoosa County in Alabama have just been issued into a severe thunderstorm warning, by the way, for 60-mile-per-hour damaging winds. That's the latest warning up that direction. No problem, Madison. Hey, Air, how you doing? All right. Real quick. We're actually only 98 subscribers, by the way, from 29,000. It's pretty wild. I'm going to see if there's any new updates on Twitter here. New update, by the way, from the Storm Prediction Center. Just a new mesoscale discussion here. Yeah, we have 3 tornado warnings ongoing. Let's go over to the new mesoscale discussion, though. Pull it up on here. So the National Weather Service, or the Storm Prediction Center, excuse me, just issued a new mesoscale discussion, which is just a fancy term for a short-term forecast here across a certain part of the United States. Severe risk is increasing across the area, and a new tornado watch is likely going to be issued soon. So that will include anyone in this purple circle here. You'll likely be issued into a new tornado watch. So that's from western Georgia all the way back through the panhandle of Florida and southeast Alabama. Those are the areas included in a possible for a new tornado watch, which would pretty much be likely at this point. I would expect a new tornado watch for sure. This is definitely an area to be watching for long-term developments. And we actually just got an extension on the tornado watch. This is not a new tornado watch, it's just an extension here until 8 o'clock tonight. This is actually the tornado watch that was ongoing here across eastern Alabama back through Georgia. And this tornado watch has extended into areas like Troy, Union Springs, and it goes a little bit further to the south. So just a little update there. There's now a new tornado watch, or at least an extended tornado watch here until 8 o'clock tonight. That's another 5 hours, by the way. 70-mile-per-hour damaging winds is possible tonight. And storms are going to be moving northeast, most likely at about 30 to 40 miles per hour. So that's the latest update there with that storm. Hey, Ghost, how you doing? Welcome back. How's it going? All right, here's the latest radar update, by the way, on this tornado warning down here near Highway 29. Again, moving off to the northeast right now. It is, again, not really too strong a rotation back down here in southeast Alabama. We'll keep a close eye on it, though, as it continues to move off to the north and east. We do have a brand new severe thunderstorm warning that was just issued for a pretty large area near Dadeville and near Camp Hill and Jackson's Gap for 60-mile-per-hour damaging winds. This will continue to track out to the east at about 30 to 40 miles per hour. This warning goes until 4 o'clock, so those in Lafayette, 5 points. You got a little bit until the storm arrives, probably a good 20 to 30 minutes, but again, 60-mile-per-hour damaging winds are expected with that storm. The tornado warning that's ongoing in Florida still does seem to be a bit weaker than before. We're going to go back to it. Yeah, the velocities have weakened quite a bit. They are near Highway 4. That's north of Interstate 10 in western Florida. So if you're in the Panhandle of Florida, again, tornado possibilities do exist through the rest of the day today and potentially into tonight, so we'll keep a close eye on that as well. Back up here to the north, though, this is our main tornado warning for right now. With this storm has a bit more of a possibility of actually having a tornado in comparison to the other storms, so I'll be watching this one pretty closely as it continues to move off to the northeast. So it's definitely a storm to still watch here. How's the snowier side up to the north? Let's actually look at that. This is the live look here across the United States, and the winter storm is definitely winding down. Areas actually near Minnesota have gone upwards of half a foot, or Minneapolis, excuse me, have gone upwards of half a foot of snow. Upwards of almost 2 feet of snow fell in Nebraska, which is quite incredible. And then back up here through Wisconsin and Minnesota, back through even Iowa, there's actually a little bit of snow there as well, which was kind of I already forecasted this. There'd be a little bit of snow on the backside. So yeah, there's definitely some snow up there for those in Wisconsin, and Minneapolis area also saw upwards of half a foot of snow, a little bit of ice potentially accumulating there north of Green Bay, some freezing rain. So yeah, definitely an interesting event there. I was going to do a forecast this morning, but again, I did not wake up this morning, so there you go. All right, let's go back down to this tornado warning for now. Yeah, it's a pretty impressive trough. Again, it is a dual threat trough is what I like to call it, and it's essentially just it's a big threat. I mean, we have two different things. We got snow and wintry weather and whatnot, and we also got the ongoing severe weather and even flooding. I mean, we could make this a trio threat: flooding, severe weather, and winter weather. So all kind of mixes together there. Misty streams. I've been doing, I mean, I did about 5 in December, which obviously is not typical for me. I usually do more than that. Yeah, I'm trying to do a bit more. I haven't done as many as I would like to. I'd like to go live for almost every, I want to go live for every severe weather event, but it's just not always possible. A little bit harder. Again, tornado warning we're covering right now is in southeastern portions of Alabama. Also, this is an update on this tornado warning. Has condensed a little bit, still ongoing for Macon County, if I'm saying the name right, in southeast Alabama. And again, it's radar indicated rotation right now. It's moving off to the east northeast currently, so that's what we're watching right now with this tornado warning. Otherwise, there are no other tornado warnings ongoing, mostly severe thunderstorm warnings. Now, the plan is for the rest of today. I will not be live like this entire time. I'm actually planning on getting off here after this tornado warning expires. I'm gonna go live probably again around 5 or 6 o'clock if there's still warnings ongoing, because I have not eaten. So that's the plan for right now. Since there's nothing too significant ongoing other than it's primarily this tornado warning, we're probably gonna go live again in a couple hours. So that's kind of the plan right now, just so I can eat and be able to be live for a bit longer. I think tonight I'll be live for let me look at the future radar real quick. Tonight's live stream will probably be pretty long, I'm thinking. Let me look. Tonight's live stream could be upwards of 3-ish hours possibly. So that's the current plan, 2 to 3 hours, depending on what happens. Again, if there's no severe weather, I'm not going to go live. But if there's at least some warnings ongoing, we'll be live for a little while tonight. So, yeah, that's the plan right now. Hey, see you later, Pro Magic. What's coming for Northeast Tennessee? Let's actually go up there real quick. Yeah, it's primarily this line of storms that's ongoing. I think it's more weaker the further north you go, at least here in Tennessee. And yeah, it's just mostly rain right now. So if you're like near Johnson City, Oak Grove, for example, mostly just rain. A couple of strong storms would be about all. So gusty winds up to 40 to 45 miles per hour, possibly along this broken line now. It's weakening as it approaches North Carolina. And really the only severe weather left in Tennessee is down east now at Chattanooga. It's actually into North Carolina now. So that's about it. Otherwise, the severe weather threat's going to be diminishing up that direction pretty quickly as that line does start to kind of fall apart, which was kind of it was already forecasted already. So. Hey, no problem, Cameron. No problem at all. I'm glad I'm able to help you out there. These past 2 days have kind of underperformed. This, I would say yesterday underperformed. Today, I think, I mean, in terms of like the forecast, it definitely was under what was supposed to happen, which obviously is a really good thing. I mean, I was kind of, you know, everybody hopes for busts and stuff like that. At least I always do. I really don't, I like covering this stuff. It's just like nobody wants tornadoes by any means. So it's one of those things that it didn't really pan out to what it was possibly going to be yesterday, which is really good news. Today, I think, has panned out a little bit more to what was supposed to happen today. It's been a bit more accurate in terms of the forecast so far today. Tonight will be interesting to see if anything else unfolds a little bit later, but I'll look real quick at the... Yeah, there's only been one confirmed tornado so far. I think there's been upwards of 6 tornadoes, though, so far today in that sort of range. I know we had a tornado possibly near west of Uniontown, Alabama. We had a couple other ones when we went live earlier as well. And yeah, I think we've at least had about at least 3 or 4, but I think we've been upwards of about 6 tornadoes so far today. I could be wrong. So, I think that's where we're at right now. Actually have a little bit of rotation back up north of Dadeville as well. Broad rotation, but something to maybe watch for here in a little bit. But yeah, it does seem like the rotation on this cell right now near Highway 29 is still not really that strong. It looked a bit stronger at the very beginning on this warning, but for right now, it has not really panned out to really strengthen much. It does look like a storm, though, that could be capable of a tornado really at any time. So if we go a little bit higher up in elevation, there's much more rotation. There's probably at least some sort of maybe wall cloud or something like that associated with this tornado warning. Definitely looks like a pretty decent supercell, to say the least, though, here in southeast Alabama. Yeah, they've been pretty accurate this year. Yeah, I have to agree with that. The Storm Prediction Center has definitely been pretty accurate this year comparison to past years. There's been a couple of events where they miss a bit, but I mean, that happens with any forecast, though. It's not just weather I mean, it's not just severe weather forecasts. There's, you know, snow forecasts, for example. People miss those quite often. So yeah, it's one of those things. I mean, people miss these sort of forecasts a little bit more often than not, but this has definitely been a pretty accurate year, to say the least. Computer models have been pretty accurate too. I mean, the HRR model has been pretty spot on this year as well. I wouldn't say it's been highly accurate, but it's been pretty accurate. The one thing the HR does not take into account, though, sometimes is the cap. The cap is one of those things that takes actually too much into account, the HR model. When there's a cap in place over North Texas, for example, and it doesn't always forecast it accurately. So 1 hour of the run could show a bunch of storms, and then the other model run could show absolutely nothing. So Pacific Coast, sure. Why is it raining over there? Some spotty showers right now. It's nothing actually too crazy today. I think tomorrow, if I'm not mistaken, is when there might be a bit more rain over there in California. If not, it's the following day. I think there's another round of rain coming, though, at some point soon. Let me double check. Yeah, there's another round of rain coming tomorrow night, I think, into Thursday. Yeah, you guys are going to get more rain on top of what you've already seen tomorrow. So I think if I have time tonight, I'll go over what to expect tomorrow in the Pacific, yeah, the Pacific area, Pacific Coast, the Pacific Midwest. I'll have if I have time tonight. If I go live tonight, if I have time. If not, I'll make a forecast on it tomorrow morning. That has been a really big talk. I mean, it's one of those things that has not been talked about much this week in terms of weather. Has actually been the flooding in the California area. It's because of the severe weather we have ongoing and the winter storm. The flooding has not actually been talked about as much as it should be. It's been an area that's really gotten hammered the past few days. I should have made a forecast just dedicated to that. Yesterday's forecast was dedicated specifically to the winter storm. Today, I didn't make one. Yeah, there's been a lot of local news about it. There's been a little bit of, I think, nationwide news, but it hasn't been, there has been an, I mean, it was a historical event, to say the least. San Francisco saw 5.5 inches of rain in a matter of 24 hours. That is pretty historical. I mean, that's something that just doesn't happen in San Francisco. That's the most rain that they saw in a 24-hour period. I think it's the second most I've ever seen in that sort of time frame. So definitely something to kind of keep in mind there. It's definitely not usual or typical or anything like that. Yeah, it might be worse tomorrow. Yeah, I'll make a forecast on it tomorrow, but I'm pretty sure there's gonna be a lot of rain tomorrow there in California. Let me double check here. Yeah, upwards of, there could be very well upwards of 1 to 5 inches again. I mean, this could actually have areas in a single day at 5 inches of rain, which would be absolutely crazy. So that is a possibility tomorrow. Latest update, by the way, on this tornado warning, currently still ongoing for Davisville, Society Hill, Creek Stand, and Warrior Stand in Southeast Alabama. So if you're in Southeast Alabama, again, make sure you're in your safe place in this specific location. Again, it's not the furthest southeast that you can get. It's actually kind of a bit more east than anything, but kind of east-southeast portions of Alabama. So east of Montgomery right now, still a tornado warning ongoing there. That is the only tornado warning that we have ongoing. We still have a load of severe thunderstorm warnings ongoing. Actually, 8 severe thunderstorm warnings and 1 tornado warning. So that is the warning count for right now. Back over here, yeah, we have a couple of storms that we're watching pretty closely. Any of these could very well start to strengthen and produce a tornado threat. This one actually may become tornado warning at some point south of Hurtsboro. There is rotation there for sure. That'll be something to watch for here over the next little while. The storm a bit further up here to the north, again, over near Davisville, is currently still ongoing and could very well produce a tornado at some point in the near future. So definitely a storm to watch for here in a little bit. But other than that, I'm actually gonna end the live stream now because I do want to go live a little bit later. I'm really hungry. I've not eaten today, so I want to make sure I do that first, and I'll probably go live again in a couple hours. If there's any really significant situation, I'm pretty sure there's other people on YouTube live streaming, so make sure to go check those people out. But other than that, I do appreciate everybody tuning in. It was a quick live stream, but again, I plan on a longer one a little bit later, so I appreciate everybody tuning in. Make sure to hit the like button before you leave. Subscribe if you're new here as well. We'll keep you updated later today with a new live stream. It's gonna be much longer than this one, and we'll keep you updated with the latest. Since this warning, again, the rotation's been kind of on the weaker side at this point. Could strengthen, but for right now, it's definitely still weak. So we'll take a break. We'll be back in a couple hours, so make sure to hit the like button, subscribe, turn on post notifications, click the bell icon if you've not already, so you get the latest update on the next live stream. Appreciate everybody tuning in. We'll see you guys all again soon. Have a great, safe rest of your afternoon and night if I don't see you again tonight, and we'll see you guys all again soon.